Lastly, we always like to thank our sponsors. This screen is getting so full, we're gonna have to split it into two. But today, of course, we wanted to feature Ryan. Thank you guys so much for having us. Thank you guys for hosting us, and thank you for the pizza as well. So, thank you, Ryan. And with that being said, let me hand it over to our featured presenter, Hannah.
Thank you, Matt. All right, so just a quick introduction about me is I actually started my Salesforce journey, like much of you did, by accident. So I was actually a scheduler at the time, and we were using Salesforce in our corporate office in another life to keep track of our time cards. So that was really the only exposure I had to it. But when we were transitioning to a new CRM, I was developing training, and then that got me a job as a trainer in a St. Louis headquarters branch with my old company. And that's where I joined the business systems team, became a business systems analyst, really dove into the Salesforce admin role. But due to my family being located here in Kansas, aging parents, just being closer to family, serendipitously, an opportunity opened here at Ryan Lawn & Tree, and they were looking for an admin at the time. So I jumped on board, was able to move closer back to home, and it's just been ongoing since then. So here at Ryan Lawn & Tree, we do have a small team of IT. We have a couple of developers. We have a developer. We have another admin. We also have support specialists, all focused on Salesforce. So we're constantly running sprints, taking ideas, working on larger projects. And this Agentforce demo that I'm showing you today is just one of the projects that we are working on. But I am certified. I have my business systems admin through Salesforce. I'm an administrator Salesforce admin certified. I've gotten my specialist certification, which I highly recommend for everyone because it's free until the end of the year, everyone. So worst case scenario, if you fail it, it's just a $100 retake fee. And Focus on Force is great for studying for that. So take advantage of a free cert because we know how much they are every time you take this. But I've been diving into the world of Google AI since we have Google Workspaces here at Ryan Lawn & Tree, and really diving into the AI outside of Salesforce too, just to kind of understand everything that's happening while trying to stay on top of Salesforce. Everything they're updating every couple of weeks regarding Agentforce, Data Cloud, pricing changes, all of that. So what I want to show today is I really want to show you my journey starting last year when Agentforce was released, walk through my process, my roadblocks, both on the business side and the Salesforce side, and show you an actual agent that is almost ready for prime time, but it actually is functional, and I do want to show it to you in my sandbox environment today. So how I'm going to do this is I'm going to walk you through it before I actually show you the agent. I'm going to show you the agent. We're going to ask it some questions so that way you can see how it pulls data. And then I'm going to go back and show you the permissions, what I did in Data Cloud, in my sandbox, because that's what you're really here for today, is how do I get this basic thing set up in my Salesforce environment? Because that's the part that you don't hear a lot from Salesforce is, okay, well, you can turn this on and all of a sudden you can use AI. Not so easy, guys. So that's what we're really going to focus on today is we're going to use, well, how an admin can set this up, how a developer can set this up, how you as Salesforce users can set this up for your businesses. So let's go ahead. I'm going to switch slides real quick and share this tab. There we go. So that is why I have titled today's presentation, Building an Autonomous Agent, My Journey with Salesforce, Data Cloud, and Agentforce, because Data Cloud is essential. You have to have Data Cloud in order for Agentforce to work. That is sometimes the thing that is glossed over when you're learning about all the webinars from Agentforce. So today, I'm going to present the challenge. We need a better way to access our data in Salesforce. That was the original business problem that came to me. We have way too many clicks. I'm on the phone with a representative. I don't need to go 6 layers deep to try to find information. I want to find my information quickly, so that way I can provide a better customer experience for that customer on the phone. Next was the plan, getting into Data Cloud. Because like I said before, Data Cloud is the essential fundamental. You have to get it set up in order for Agentforce to work. Next we're going to talk about the agent, as I actually call my agent, the CER account navigation agent. And when it comes to naming, I tend to name them what they actually do instead of Bob or Sarah or Rebecca. Now, I'm not going to be judgmental. You can call your agents whatever you want. But as we all continue to build agents within Salesforce, you're going to probably want to name it what its actual function is, so that way you can keep track of what it's doing. So that is why I called mine the CER account navigation agent. Next, we're going to actually show my CER account agent in action in our sandbox. So that way you can see how it pulls information, what questions you can ask. And I'm not going to say it's perfect. Agents can always be refined. It's not quite ready for prime time, but it's good. It shows you basic retrieval information, which is a use case you can all take back with you today. And then finally, I'm going to actually walk through Salesforce and show you, like I said, how everything was set up, all the different facets you have to go into. And then we're going to take away my takeaways after my year experience with Agentforce, and then I'm going to open the floor up for some Q&A. Okay, so who's ready to get started and actually see this thing go? Okay, let's do this. Okay, so first, just to dive a little bit deeper into the background, so the challenge. My customer-facing employees needed a quick access to comprehensive account views because, as everyone knows here, Salesforce is set up based off of objects, related objects, different things connected to everything. So sometimes to get to the information they needed to go to account, contact, related list, email. Oh, wait, they're a community user in the portal. I have to go here. I have to go here. It's very time consuming and very focused on, you have to know where you're going. That was what our situation was. And they told us there has to be a better way to do this. Next, the data was siloed across accounts objects, contact objects, opportunity objects, and cases. So in IT, we had to build all these relationships, how they connected to each other, so that way people could find instinctively what information they needed. So I kid you not, if you look at our schema right now, it's a scary spider web of spaghetti is what it is. So there has to be. And so that's where we thought AI could come into play. So it's basically pulling those specific objects for the information that our customer service reps use the most, and pull them in through Data Cloud. That was what that was identifying. What are the top objects you need access to, and how can I pull those all together so that way you can find the information you're looking for while on the phone with a customer. Next, finding the information required multiple clicks, searches, and screens. I kid you not, sometimes people have 3 screens pulled up because they're looking for a report here, or they're looking for a search here, they're on an account. So there wasn't a good cohesive way for them to find information quickly without diving into reports that had been created as workarounds, or diving into an object, or maybe trying to find what we call an asset, a service they have. So I'm kind of painting the picture here of what our current situation was. So it's like, okay, I see this as an opportunity to create an agent that our CERs, our customer experience reps, can use quickly to be able to find the information they need while they're on the phone with customers. So that's a good business use case, right? Yeah, okay. So the goal was to create a single intelligent entry point to access 360 view of any customer. Put in the customer's name, verify information, boom, they can ask any question about that account without having to actually physically go to it in Salesforce. That was the goal. So with that began my journey, because before Agentforce came out, guys, I knew very little about AI. I had heard of ChatGPT. I hadn't used it very much, so this was an eye-opening experience. It was diving into anything I could find out about Agentforce through Salesforce, anything I could find on Udemy regarding machine learning, generative AI, anything I could find on Google or ChatGPT or Microsoft about anything AI. What's the latest? How do I do it? How do I write a prompt? What is a prompt? I don't know what a prompt is. This is where I was a year ago. So if you're not there yet, don't worry. If you put in the effort, you can learn, because I didn't know anything about AI a year ago. So my first stop was, okay, I know I have to ground this information somehow. So how do I ground information in Salesforce? Okay, so Data Cloud, because after many back and forth with Salesforce, Sometimes I would hear you didn't need data cloud. Sometimes I heard you did need data cloud. I was like, okay, I got to connect data cloud. Okay, now this is a whole nother feature of Salesforce that I have to learn in order for my agent to function. So the purpose of data cloud is to create a single source of truth within your Salesforce environment. The idea behind it is that you can either pull your CRM information from within Salesforce, or if you have data siloed outside in AWS or Google, you could pull that data into Salesforce and have it unified there. Make sense so far? You tracking me? Okay. So yes. Oh no, fine. Feel free to ask questions throughout the presentation, guys. We do not. Luckily, we don't right now. We do have some in Google Drive, which we're kind of right now, but for the purposes of this one, everything was within Salesforce. Yes. Okay.
You're B2C, correct?
Yes. Yes. Okay, so the next step one was setting up Salesforce or setting up Data Cloud. Okay, so the first goal. Okay, I'm going to go enable Sales Cloud. We're going to turn it on. And luckily, Salesforce does have a nice setup for Data Cloud. It walks you through a nice checklist, how you can enable it to your production environment, reminds you have to set up permissions for people to see it, all of that. So easy enough. Okay, setting up a data space for our project. Well, luckily, I wasn't pulling any data outside, and this was my first agent, so I may have skipped this step because I'm just pulling in CRM data. And what I did is I had to create a data stream, which I'm going to talk about in step 2, but I had to make sure I had the right permissions set up, because I can tell you those first couple months of setting up Agentforce, everyone, there's so many licenses, so many permissions that you have to find. It's enough to make you just throw in the towel. Because that's what Salesforce doesn't tell you is, okay, I need to assign this permission. I also need to make sure I have this license moving forward. So I had to make sure that I had the right license set up so that way I could be a Data Cloud admin. So that way I could create these data streams so I can get the information I'm looking at for in one place. Luckily, Salesforce just released that anything that you pull from within Salesforce is not going to consume data credits. Because let's be honest, guys, how many of you are confused by the whole data consumption? Same, yes. So luckily, if you start small within your CRM itself, it's not going to consume those data credits. So this is a good first use case, is just pulling your own data, being able to find it, and do data analysis on it. So that moves us to step 2. Okay, I have everything set up in Data Cloud. I need to connect it to the CRM. So luckily, when I create a new data stream within Data Cloud, it has a CRM, Salesforce CRM connector. Now they do have different bundles you can select from, or you can go object by object to connect it. This is where it helps to do that foundational work with your use case to determine what information you're needing for your agents. So that's why I met with the CER team and determined they need the account, they need the opportunities, they need the contact, verse, and went down the list. So that way, when I connected Salesforce, I was able to select the accounts, the opportunities, the contacts, etc., because that's the specific information I needed to pull in for my agent. Make sense so far? Okay. So once I did that, I ran into a roadblock because nothing was pulling. I'm like, okay, I did what I was supposed to. I created these data streams. Why can't I see them? Oh, wait, there's another thing that I had to set up that I didn't know about. You have to make sure that you give permission to Data Cloud as read-only objects to these objects in Salesforce. Otherwise, it's not going to pull any data. There's a little nugget for you guys. You have to grant the object permission for that specific Data Cloud user it creates in Salesforce. So once I got over that bump, after a couple conversations with Salesforce, I was finally able to create my data streams to ingest the data from these objects into Data Cloud. All right, first step down. We got data in Data Cloud, right? This is great. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to start creating my agent now. Oh, wait, I have to do some stuff with the data before I actually get it into Agentforce, everyone. So when it comes in, sometimes data mapping occurs automatically, which great. Mine didn't. So after many phone calls with Salesforce trying to figure out what was not connected right, we finally found out it was one object or one field that wasn't connected correctly to another field that automatic mapping had overridden. So once we fixed that, we're in business. We got that fixed. Okay. Data model objects. Honestly, if you're not pulling in outside data, you don't need to be heavily influenced on that yet. The most important is the data lake objects, because that's what's going to model from what your field is to your unified field. And luckily, since I didn't have to worry about external, I didn't have to worry about any identity resolution, because what this does is it creates a profile key. So that way, if you are pulling in outside data, you can unify it and identify that, okay, this is the one person, even though they have a different spelling of their last name or their address is slightly off. So this is just basic good data, because as we all figured out at this point, data is the foundation of everything AI related. If you don't have good data, all you're going to have is a tool that finds information very fast, but very wrong. So this is why it pays off to take the time, make sure your data is clean, make sure your data is unified before you move forward. And I could even argue this within your Salesforce. How many of you deal with duplicates in your Salesforce environment? Yeah. So this could be a good way to help you identify those, because if you're pulling in your CRM data, you can maybe help use this to unify. I haven't done it myself, so that's just a path you could explore. I'm not going to say 100% it works, but it's an avenue to use there. So, okay, I finally got my data stream. I finally got my data mapped. I think I'm ready to get into Agentforce and start making an agent at this point. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
How long did it take you to clean up?
Well, let's just say it's still in process of being cleaned up. It's a never-ending process, everyone, because as long as you have people that are continually putting information in, there's always a chance that they're going to put duplicates or type something wrong. So it's unfortunate, it's the job of an admin is constantly to monitor that, to clean up the duplicates. So, I mean, you can put things in place to basically stop any coming in, but then you also have to clean up. But then people are always good at people and find ways around it just to get things created quickly. So it always helps to have reports, use that fuzzy logic, duplicate matching. That's what's in Salesforce, or you can even get an external tool like DataGreamer or iSweep to help you locate those and fix those. So unfortunately, it's a never-ending battle. I wish I could say different, but it is not. Okay, we're finally able to get into Agentforce to build the agent. So my objective, I'm going to build a smart agent that can understand natural language and find the data I'm looking for. Okay. So how many of you have sat through the workshops for Agentforce? Go in, enable Einstein first, refresh. Go in, enable Agentforce, refresh. That's key. And I'll show you both of those when I walk through this. So I created a new agent. Now this is where it gets a little fuzzy because there's multiple options depending on what version of Agentforce you have. If you have Salesforce Foundations, you have access to the default agent. How many of you have Salesforce Foundations? Do you know what Salesforce Foundations is? Okay, this is your quick ticket if you have Field Service or Sales Cloud to get agents, is Foundations. Because this was something they briefly mentioned at Dreamforce last year. I caught the tail end of it when they were releasing, and I was like, hold on, back up. What was that you mentioned about Foundations? And then after many discussions with my account executive, that is when we determined that this would be the easiest path for us to move forward at the time, because we had not explored Einstein for Service at the time, or Agentforce as it got rebranded to. So that is how we got in to start playing with it a year ago, was getting Salesforce Foundations, because it's free for enterprise level platforms, everyone. So as long as you have Sales Cloud or Service Cloud, you can get Foundations for free, and that gives you access to the default agent, which lets you start messing with it. Yes?
Up to a certain amount of credit.
Of course. Yes. Thank you for the clarification. Yes, it's not, nothing with Agentforce is unlimited, everyone. Not at all. But I will talk about that once more I get into my use case. But thank you for pointing that out. Okay. So at the time, we had Salesforce Foundations. I have my default agent. Like, okay, I'm ready to go. Salesforce has shown me this. It looks super easy. All I got to do is just go in there and just type everything I want. Okay. So I'm going to create a new agent called the CER Account Navigator agent. I'm going to give it a persona. Your job is to be an information assistant for my CER group for Ryan Lawn and Tree. You're not supposed to do any actions. You're just an information finder. Easy enough, right? No. So even though I gave it a specific persona, I started off with some instructions, but as usual, nothing is ever good out of the first gate when it comes to Agentforce. It is always, it's like teaching a child, everyone. You can't give them instructions and expect them to know it from then on. It's reinforcing. It's going, yes, this is the correct answer, or no, this is the wrong answer. The thumbs up, the thumbs down. That's what we call developing the neural network. So whenever you hear neural networks within AI, that's what they're talking about. Reinforcement, positive reinforcement for right answers. So that way it knows to put more weight on that prediction, or negative. Okay, this is not the right answer. I'm going to answer that less times with this response. That's a neural network. Okay, so I just started really basic with this agent. I'm just going to use the general CRM. That's all I'm going to use. One topic, that's it. I'm going to use the standard topic from my library, and that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to add any potential customization in the future, which I will talk about once we get through the demo, and I'm good. So, okay, I got my instructions. I got my topic good to go. I've given it examples so it knows what's right and wrong. And now the agent is grounded in that data cloud. I did not have to create a specific data library since I'm not using knowledge articles. It's just CRM. So I'm like, okay, it's grounded. It's good to go. Let's test it. And lo and behold, after all that, I finally got it to work. I did run into a little hiccup with the default agent because it wasn't pulling information correctly. So after many a meeting with Salesforce, they determined that, oh, this employee agent template will work better for you. And I'm like, oh, great. When's that coming out? Oh, that's coming out in 3 weeks. Awesome. Great. 3 weeks comes out. No agent. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, it was a summer 25 release. I'm like, maybe it'll come out the summer 25 release and I'm just missing something. Summer 25 release comes around. No employee agent. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? I contact my account executive going, hey, this agent is supposed to be available. I was told by Salesforce Help. Why isn't it coming up? I don't know. Let me check and get back to you. Okay. A couple weeks later. Oh, that's available on our new Agentforce for field service pricing, which is we're rebranding the whole thing. So Einstein for service that you got is now going away. And if you don't switch over to this, then you don't get your employee agent templates. And you're also going to have to switch over to this upon your contract renewal in a couple of years. So you might as well go ahead and switch to this now. Okay, fair. Okay, tell me about this. Well, instead of just credit consumptions, we're now going to have Agentforce licenses and credit consumptions. Did anybody get that the first time they heard about that? Okay, we have licenses, we have credit consumptions. Was anybody else confused when that first came out and needed some clarification on that? I sure did. So I'm like, okay, so with this, does that mean if I have a license, then I can go create as many agents as I want, and whoever has a license can use it as many as they want and not cost any data consumption credits? So like, yes. I'm like, okay. So if somebody doesn't have a license, they could still use the agent and just cause data consumption credits for the flex credit. So like if it actually performs an action, then it consumes like 10 credits. Yes, okay. So can I get a combination where I get myself a license so I can create the agent and then use flex credits for other people internally? Initial response, no, you can only have one or the other. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Okay. So after working with them, after getting back 3 weeks, getting an estimate for all of this, they're like, oh, here's what we did. We gave you so many licenses, but we're also going to throw in some flex credits. I'm like, hold on. Didn't you tell me beforehand that I can only use one or the other? Oh, no, we never said that. We didn't say that. You can use both. I'm like, well, why am I getting all these licenses? Okay, whatever. Fine. I'm at the point where I'm just like, I just want my agent to work. So, okay, that's fine. And what we also had is, since we didn't have good use case for service, we actually switched over to the field service because Matt, customer of Ryan Lawn and Tree, you know that our guys come out and they use their field service app. So anything with pre-work briefs, post-work summaries, any AI generated information is probably we're going to be able to use that more than we are with case resolution, because that's honestly what Agentforce for Service is designed for. So we made that switch because Agentforce for Service also includes everything that is for Agentforce for Service, or Agentforce for Field Service includes everything for Agentforce for Service. So you're basically getting both for the same price, because they were the same price, everyone, in case you're talking with your exec about that. So we made that switch. And then finally I had access to the employee agent. That was a weird tangent I went on, but it was a valuable story because we all dealt with Salesforce executives that, yes.
We're doing one of the Agentforce for Service pilots right now, but so in your opinion, do you have to have a license for any of your employees which to use?
You do not. You can use the flex credits, but it's going to consume flex credits if they use it. And as you know, Salesforce is going to charge per 500,000 credits, give you $500 for I think it's 500,000. I could be wrong on the data amount, but they've made it easy for everyone because then you can just buy as you go. That's their customized. Sorry, Dave.
And you said earlier that you're not being charged consumables for the Salesforce data. Does that include non-articles, files, etc.?
Yes, that includes, okay, so they're actually just changing the policy. I just read it yesterday, that they're going to start charging Data Cloud for Data Cloud storage. I haven't got the details on that, but like Agentforce, they're rethinking that pricing model, because right now, all they're charging you is consumption credits when you ingest information into Data Cloud. However, they're seeing that, hey, people are storing information in Data Cloud from outside services, so they're actually going to start charging you for multiple spaces within Data Cloud. So keep an eye on that moving forward, so that way you can be informed, because I unfortunately don't have all that data right now. I'm just researching it at this point. Any other questions? Are you guys ready to see this agent in action? Yeah, we've only been waiting for like an hour to see it, so let me show it to you. Okay, let me get logged into it real quick, and I will share my screen and show everyone. Don't worry, I'm not sharing anybody's data because we're looking at my account, so. Okay, let's go over. I'm going to share my tab. Okay, everybody's familiar with this screen. Good old sandbox. Okay, so once you have activated Salesforce, once you've tested it, you've activated it in your environment, you'll now see this little Agentforce icon up here in your screen. And then to access Agentforce, all you have to do is open him up, and then he'll give you his disclaimer about using Agentforce or using the latest AI technology. Features are powered by generative AI, so always review responses for accuracy. Okay, so I got it. All right, the CER Agent Navigator is live. So I put a little disclaimer in here that says, hi, I'm your CER Account Navigator. I quickly find, summarize, and hyperlink Salesforce accounts for you, your daily needs. And so I'm going to say, find Hannah Raby's account. Oh, and see, I misspelled account because I have 50-some people staring at me right now. So, you know, I don't always type the best when that happens. Let's see if it finds it. The great thing, what I have found with this is even if you misspell something, it will still find the correct information because it uses natural language. So basically what this is doing, it's giving me a huge summary of my account here at Ryan Lawn and Tree. So here's my account. It's Hannah Raby account. It's categorized as a residential customer. And here's my account number. It's currently not marked as an active customer. I'm associated with the Metro branch. Here's my address. Everybody knows where I live now. Okay. How long I've been a customer, when my last payment was made, has a hyperlink for this email address. We use fake email addresses for testing in Sandbox for, I hope you all know this, just for testing so it doesn't actually go out. Okay. And it basically gives me all this information. So it's bombarded me with all this information. Let's say that, okay, now that you've given me this, I kind of want to see it on the screen now. So give me link to the account. to Hannah Raby's name. And then what this will do, it should, you'll find out that testing, what should and actually happens can be two different things when it comes to Agentforce. So it says you can access Hannah Raby's account here. So, okay, it created a nice little hyperlink for me. So once I click this, it actually opens my account in Salesforce. So you can, within Agentforce, create hyperlinks to take you to specific information if you want to review it for accuracy. We found that out by accident, and it was a very happy discovery when we were working through this agent. Okay, so this is basically my agent. So let's talk about, let's go a little granular. Anybody have ideas? Do we want to look at opportunities perhaps, or case history maybe? Any ideas? Got a satisfaction? Okay. Let's see how satisfied is the customer on this account. I honestly have no idea how this is going to respond, so we'll see. This is the beauty of Agentforce, everyone. It's literally test and go. Okay, it says there's no specific information about customer satisfaction directly tied to Hannah Raby's account in the available data. If you have customer satisfaction survey or feedback mechanism in place, I can help you locate or analyze that data. Let me know how you'd like to proceed. So, got a question kind of going, okay, so how likely is the account, let's see, is Hannah Raby to close a deal? Grammar is off, but let's see what Agentforce can do. So I'm asking it, how likely am I to close a deal? If I'm offered an opportunity based on my close history, how often? So, okay. So what it says here is based on the available data, Hannah Raby's account has a history of successful closed opportunities, including one recently opportunity marked as one with a value of $100. Additionally, the account has 3 closed opportunities in the last fiscal year, indicating a positive track record. While this suggests the likelihood of closing deals, the actual probability could depend on factors like current stage of open, the nature of services being discussed. So as you can see, I haven't even gone into the account, everyone. I'm literally just asking it questions. Yes.
And Hannah, your CAPRs, and they are somewhere in an office or in a home location at their screen, right? And they're opening the agent on their Salesforce screen.
Yes. So just full disclaimer here, this is still being fully vetted and tested by our CER leadership. So one of the things we are concerned about is the real estate, because you do notice it does take up some of the space on the screen. Well, we have a phone system that comes up and takes about an equal number of space. So that is one of the things that we want to test going forward. Is this something they use? Is this something that can work with that interface? So there's always going to be things you test. But if it is just someone who's actually not taking a phone call and needs to do research like after a call on this, they can go in and use this. And then also, this is actually, they want their information presented a certain way. So they want to be able to have bullet points. So that is where the prompt template is going to come into play. How many of you have actually used prompt templates? Okay. Yeah, so prompt templates like using something like FormStack or any other form generation, except it adds the AI component to it. So you would create like a prompt, you are doing this, this is your guidelines, you're answering only these questions, and then you give it examples, and then you can actually pull in fields from the objects that you've linked to the prompt. So if you've linked the account, you can pull in the name of the account, the service on the account, whatever other fields you have on the service. So that way, when you call this prompt, then it presents the information in that fashion and pulls the correct information from your Salesforce object. I highly recommend going into it because that's where it's going to get really fun creating things and prompting it with. But that's when your flow knowledge will come in, because you'll have to create an instruction on the back end for Salesforce to go in and pull that prompt, so that way it pulls the information correctly within your instructions. Otherwise, this is going to pull random data. I kid you not when I say reiterate, it's like teaching a child, everyone. It's literally going through the nitty gritty. So let's ask something a little more fun. Absolutely, Matt. If you pull in that data through Data Cloud, through the CRM connector, if you pull that object, I haven't fully tested it yet, but that's where one of the ways I was getting stuck on the default agent is because it was only wanting to pull in the activities. Whenever I'd ask it to find a prompts, it would say no active activities on this account. So I would say, yes, it can, but I haven't gotten it since we don't use activities a lot within our business use case. But yes, it will pull in activities.
I was just thinking, like, if you were asking the same likelihood question, and you had 45 emails, like, that would be a good use case.
Absolutely. And everybody's situation is unique and different. So if you do a lot of case resolution, this could be used to go, hey, summarize the last 5 cases or provide me a link to the case. There's a lot of different ways you can use this, but this is just a basic. Start small, everyone. Don't try to build the Cadillac out of the gate. Start with, the old beat up car that you got in high school. Unless you were lucky and got a nice, your parents bought you a car. It was not that situation. So
for your business use case, are you planning on giving CPR team licenses?
Yes.
Okay. And say you weren't, say the person who's using this right now doesn't have a license. Every time they type something in, are you using consumables or not necessarily?
And see, that's where it gets tricky because I have not got a clear explanation from Salesforce on that. My current understanding is that if it performs an actual action, that's when it consumes the flex credits. But I have not tested that. So, but this is not considered an action.
I don't think that's accurate.
Okay, and that's why I say I think this is the way I interpret it. So, David, if you have some other, please feel free to share.
Well, so my old role when I was on consulting side, I was very up to speed with all the changes in the licensing and how this works. But like you said, it's changed quite a bit over the last 3 months.
Yes.
And in my new role at Salesforce, I don't have to do that anymore.
Okay.
I'm more focused in a specific area. So I haven't really paid attention.
Okay.
So like you said, it's changed a lot constantly. So I don't know what it is now.
Yes.
But at least as of 3 months ago when I was paying attention to it, anytime you did any interaction with the agent was consumed.
Okay. And I think that changed with the new Agentforce price. Was that part of that?
So that, yes, that came out, that's what we were talking about, but that
Okay.
the question was is if you're not using the unlimited license,
Ah,
but you're using
yes.
the flex credits.
Mhm.
So I know under the old model, it would consume flex credits.
Right.
So if you don't have that license, like, yes, would
Yes, if you don't have it, then it goes to the
even on the
flex.
search. So like,
Mhm.
even if it's not performing an action, a search is considered
Yes.
interaction. that
I'm
would be-
scared. I don't want to use my flex credits. So I think I'm just giving everybody a license with it. So I haven't, honestly, transparent, I have not used it outside of somebody with a license. So I don't know what consumption credits it would take.
And just ballpark,
Mhm.
any idea how much are the license? Ballpark.
They start, you can always negotiate, of course, with the account, but I believe they start at $150 a license for the Agentforce and negotiate per year. So it depends on how many licenses you want, but that's per month. That's per month.
Potential.
Just to
Yes.
clarify, on top of
Yes.
what you pay.
So you got your platform licenses, but in order to use Agentforce with those licenses, then you would have to pay an additional however many licenses
But
you want to
yeah,
get.
you could still do the other licensing
Yes.
as well. So the calculates, I mean, just again, more on the consulting
Yeah.
side. A lot of the barriers for clients was, especially, and I'm talking more like large
Mhm.
enterprise clients, was we don't know what a burden is.
Mhm.
And we don't want to sign up for something that's just a blank check, just don't know what you're going to charge us. and the
Exactly.
platform was horrible on telling you where to work.
That's all of us a year ago. We were just like, we have no idea.
So that's why this
Yeah.
license came out, was because to help satisfy that, like, like I said, like AT&T,
Mhm.
one of the largest Salesforce users, for them to say, okay, we feel comfortable now in looking for this because we know what our cost is going to be. For a smaller use case, I don't think that license probably is going to make a lot of
No,
sense.
honestly, the
because-
credit should be enough.
Yeah, exactly. The credit
Once you get a
is
better
more-
feel, because they are doing a la carte. So like once you hit, you can go buy another bundle for $500 of credits. So they have made it more accessible.
You could monitor, let's say,
Mhm.
agents, you could monitor, and be like, okay, cost versus benefit isn't working for these set of agents right now, so we're gonna turn those off and keep these on. Because we see this one working well while we go through our credits.
Correct.
There's a lot of ways you could then handle it.
Yes. So use case that we take or the learning lesson we take will like just stay on top of what a Salesforce is doing because it is changing way faster than the quarterly updates. David can attest to that. So just like, what are they going to throw at us for Dreamforce, everyone? I have no idea.
Just an additional cost, but not necessarily licensed. User.
That is, well, you do have to assign like a permission set for Data Cloud. So honestly, you don't have, the person doesn't have to have a Data Cloud license in order to use Agentforce. The only time you need one is if you're doing data analytics using Data Cloud, or if you're doing Agentforce and you're creating the agent.
So it's confusing. Data Cloud is required to be turned on to use Agentforce.
Yes.
You're not required to do anything in Data Cloud to use Agentforce.
Yes.
So let that sink in.
Do you have to pay to turn on Data Cloud?
No.
Because when you buy Agentforce, it comes with Data Cloud. So to turn it on and just to do the base things you need to do, there is no additional thing. You start to then set up Data Cloud, use Data Cloud, consume, create segments. Now you kind of crossed over to consumption within Data Cloud, which will give you credits or depending on, I know the new unlimited is going to do announcements. You're more up to speed with I don't
I just try to, but no, the good news about it is that that's what you do have to be aware. So if you do connect something outside of the Salesforce, so what they've included as no cost consumption is Salesforce CRM and the marketing clouds. So this is going to be important for you. So anything with marketing cloud or Pardot, I think Pardot's part of that. I don't know. I have to double check.
It's marketing cloud.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the clarification because I'm on the same page with you guys. I'm still trying to figure it all out as well. So, but that is actually no cost consumption. So if you do pull in something like AWS, Google Drive, something exterior into your Salesforce environment, what you do have to remember is if you do want to plug those in for your agent to use, and you don't have an Agentforce license, and depending on how often you ingest that information, you're going to get hit with consumption credits for Data Cloud. Correct me if I'm wrong, David, but you're going to get hit with consumption credits for ingesting the information, but then you're also going to get hit with flex credits for that person using the agent who's researching that. So that is something to be aware of as you start to get into the realm of more complex agents pulling in siloed data. Just always be aware and monitor that consumption, because the last thing you want to do is try to explain to your CFO why you got hit with like $1,000 charge or even a bit higher because you weren't on top of those credit consumptions. So that's my word of caution moving into the Agentforce environment. Yes.
This might be a crazy question. I don't know.
Oh, trust me, there's no crazy when it comes to Agentforce. You're good.
You said other data sources.
Mhm.
You're talking about the AWS. Can another, does it also reach out to the web?
It can.
Well, it can.
It can, yes. If you don't program it not to, so what I've been doing is when I was playing around initially with the agent, I would ask it about lawn care tips, just giving it instructions, and it literally went to the web to find the best case information. So whether it's accurate or not, depends on where it's sourcing the information from. But once again, Mhm.
Go along the lines of like, like I said, 18,
Mhm.
hold all that in on the web as well. She's like, I see that.
Mhm.
Copilot.
Mhm. Yeah, and what you have to remember about AI in general, everyone, AI at its base level is a prediction generator. It's going to tell you what it thinks you want to hear based off of the data patterns it's learned in natural language. So always keep that in mind. It's going to want to answer what it thinks you want to hear. So that's why you have to be extremely cautious with bias, with any type of like negativity with it, because that's where you hear about the whole ethics and AI discussion happening right now, how it's trained and biased. But you also have to keep in mind, and actually read through the answers and not take everything at face value, because it could just be, it honestly may at times just make stuff up. I've actually read studies where a science community used AI and then it had cited like papers that did not exist. And then they got in trouble and had to pull from a conference. Yes.
I am using, Copilot recently, like I'm using Copilot last 7 or 8 months to do a couple of assignments that I do. I find just on point you made, so much information out there, like you said, is biased and just downright negative. So there is a lot of negative stuff out there.
Yeah.
So when I do my prompt, I get all my information, then I say, I want to see the positives of this. I go right back and ask it. Tell me now what is positive out here, because there's so much,
Yeah.
like you said. So when I finish looking at everything I pull, I turn the tables on and say, now tell me about this in a positive way. Not always the best results, but at least I can get, maybe a little more balance.
Exactly. And that goes into more advanced stuff that obviously I don't have time, unfortunately, to show you guys today, but that's when they talk about the RAG, the augmentation. It's going in there and putting the level of comfort you in with the risk assessment. With the what do they call it? It's like the the degree, I think it is, of certainty that temperature. Thank you. It's going in there and adjusting how much you want to allow it to venture outside of its instructions, how much, and that's more of those Agentforce settings that as you start to get in there and working with Agentforce, just trying different options. But the good news is it does have the 0 retention, which is why I feel comfortable with customer data in here, because it does forget it. It's not something where somebody, if they hack Salesforce, is going to be able to get in and find all the information that you searched for, which is always not the case with any outside with ChatGPT or Gemini, unless you have specific contracts with them not to share and train your data model. But that's a whole different discussion for a different meeting. So the Salesforce is basically, upon my experience, I feel confident putting information into it because I know it's not being trained to use the model and there's no 0 retention on the information. Okay, so just quick, does everybody want to see in Salesforce where they need to go to set up these permissions and turn things on? Okay, let's go ahead and do that while we still have a little bit of time, so that way we have some time to mingle and get more pizza afterwards. So first thing you're going to want to do is go into setup here. And like I was saying, let's go into Data Cloud setup first. So this is where you're going to want to go originally to turn on Data Cloud. And you can go into your environment to see if you have Data Cloud. We found it by accident. We're like, hey, look, we have Data Cloud. Imagine that. So this walks you through step by step. It gives you how to set up Data Cloud. Oh, let me share the screen. Sorry, everyone. There we go. Okay, so I just went to Data Cloud setup here in my setup menu. And I scrolled down. And it literally takes you step by step. So you can assign your permissions. It'll actually give you at the very beginning to connect to your production org, and it'll take a little bit of time to connect. But it reminds you to assign your user permissions, where you can assign permissions right here. If you have multiple Salesforce environments, you can connect another Salesforce org here. I only have the one, so I don't get too complex. You can connect other data sources. This is where you would ingest marketing cloud information or any like a commerce cloud that you'd have. You'd be able to set it up here. We do have marketing cloud here at Ryan, Lawn and Tree. So I did connect marketing cloud just so I didn't have to worry about doing that later. And then it says start using Data Cloud. It's a nice little checklist. Salesforce is moving more towards this to help users like yourselves get things set up within Salesforce. So that way it's not a completely like, oh my gosh, where do I even start trying to set up Salesforce? So I can go to the Data Cloud itself. And this is where you literally just start working from left to right, everyone. You start with your data streams here. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Thank you. I don't like trying to go. Okay. So you literally start from left to right. That's the easiest way to navigate through Data Cloud. You start with your data streams. This is where you're connecting your information to Salesforce. So in order to create a new data stream, you would just click new. Takes a little bit. And you'll notice there's already a connector available for Salesforce CRM. This is where I recommend starting because this is where you're going to be able to pull your objects you've created in Salesforce as well as the standard objects. Now, you can also upload files here available as well. Why it's not? Oh. Okay, so you were asking about external. This is where you can see all the external connectors that are available. Some of them are in beta, so you may have to set up some OAuth like 4.0, 2.0 to get them set up. Beforehand, I ran into that with a Google Drive. But this list is ever growing, everyone in Data Cloud. They really want to ingest all this information in. So just scroll down this list until you find where your data is at. And if your data connector is not available here, it may be a use case where you at this point can't ingest it into Salesforce because there's not an existing connector, or there may be a MuleSoft situation. So that's just my recommendation, but I don't want to pull it up here because it takes too long to load, but I'll try anyway. I'll just do the Salesforce CRM. But as this is loading, you'll notice, if you can see it, there's a view bundles section here where it's going to put like your Service Cloud objects, your field service, your Sales Cloud objects bundled together, your standard ones. So if you have some custom fields, it's not going to pull those in. That's where you would go to this view objects. I know it's very light because it's loading, and I apologize, everyone. But this is where you can go through all of your objects one by one and check box them to be able to ingest them into Salesforce through Data Cloud. I'm going to go ahead and get out of that. That's taking too long. Okay, so once you select that and you ingest them, it then creates a data stream where then it shows you the total records that are ingested. And you may run into a situation where you need to activate it. It says, oh, need activation. Okay. So you click on the object here, the field name, and then all you have to do here is there should be an object. Maybe I went to the wrong spot. I'm ahead of myself. This is where you see the details. So you can map here, but we're ahead. Let me go back here. So activate data stream. So you would literally just click activate data stream. And I have to select one. So this is where you'd select this and activate it. And you can go into here to more advanced features where you can set up how often you want it to ingest. But just keep in mind, every time you ingest data outside of the CRM, if you're doing external, it's going to hit those consumption credits for ingestion, pending the new release that they talked about yesterday. So that could be out of date information. I have not reviewed that yet. But this is where you would activate it. They'll give you the status. And then you can just update. If you want to update, you can do the same thing. Check your different data streams that you have. You'll notice I kept mine simple. It's literally just my objects. So I got my account object, my opportunity object, my knowledge, like some other weird ones that were already available. And when I activated it, I don't know what these are. They're just there. I have no idea what they do. But once you have the object, that's where we can go into the data lake objects. So this is that screen we were just looking at. So what a data lake object is, it's basically, it's a lake of this particular object that holds all the fields that you pulled in. So here, it shows me all the different fields I have created within Salesforce. And this is where I was talking about. This is where my first roadblock was this field map section. So if you click that, you notice that it does do automatic mapping from the object, the account home, the raw data, to the actual object in Salesforce. And this is a necessary step. So it does do a lot of automatic, but if you create some custom fields, you may have to go in and manually connect the data to the field in Salesforce. I know it's overwhelming if you're not used to Data Cloud, but trust me, just go in there and mess with it. You'll feel more confident. Because when I first looked at this, everyone, I kid you not, it was like I was trying to put a stereo together in the 80s. Some of you are old enough to know what that's like. And it's, I kid you not, a similar experience. So definitely dive into Data Cloud. But once you get this and you get these mapped, then you should be good and it should be available for you to pull within Agentforce. But to go into the Agentforce side of it, I'm going to go back in here to setup and just go to regular setup. I'll share this tab. I was thinking of you, David, when I did that. I was like, okay, David's going to call me out if I don't switch my tab share. So here is where we would do the usual two-step. Has everybody been through this where you have to go Einstein, setup. Sign setup. You have to do this first every time. And unless I actually have to do this every time my sandbox refreshes. I have to go back in, reactivate Data Cloud, and also go back in and reactivate. But once I activate it, all my data is there. Like all my templates, all my agents, everything is good. So you have to turn on your Einstein first here, then you have to refresh, and then you have to go to agent. You can go into Agentforce or agents. There it is, Agentforce agents. Then you have to turn on Agentforce here. Those are the two steps. You have to do both of these, otherwise you're not going to be able to see agents if you have Agentforce. And this is where you can enable the default agent if you want, and then you have the agents you've created. If you want to create a new agent, you just click New Agent up here in the upper right-hand corner. And then depending on the Agentforce license you have, depends on the templates that you are going to be seeing to be able to create a new agent. So your base is going to be your, let's see, the employee agent. I've already created an employee agent, so it's not showing it, of course. Sorry. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Okay, so I click new and it went in here. So it's showing me the templates I have available to me. So the templates that I'm seeing is available based on the type of Agentforce license I have. So if I have Agentforce for field service, then I'm going to see my field service mobile work, or my Agentforce, like whatever for field service on here. Scheduling is another one, is available on here. But also because Agentforce for service is available within the Agentforce for field service suite, I'm also able to see the service agent, the scheduling, the Agentforce for service, the employee agent. All these are tied together. So these are the templates that you start with, and they also do include the standard action, so that way you don't have to go in and recreate them, because that is one of the big roadblocks that came across the default agent. I tried to work around it by creating my own custom agent using Create with Gen AI here. And if you use Create Gen AI, everyone, you're starting from scratch. And when I say scratch, I mean scratch. Like no actions are coming with it. You're building everything from the ground up. And that was one of my biggest, I was like, I don't have time to do that. Because if you use a template, it already comes with pre-built like instructions, topics, actions that you can use as part of that. But you can't pull standard actions into those Gen AI agents. You have to create those from scratch. So just fair warning if you're like me and go, I can work around the system. Not if you don't want to spend a ton of time doing it. But that is what you do. So that is how you create an agent. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the creator. And then I'm going to actually show you the bit under the hood of my employee agent, or my Agentforce. So here's my account navigator. As you can see, I'm also creating, it's at the tiny of the bottom of the page. I'm sorry. I'm also working on a couple other ones that aren't quite prime time ready yet. So I'm going to go in here and open in Builder. This is behind the scenes of my agent, everyone. So I have my topics. I have my general CRM topic, as well as my single record summary. Very basic. So I can see the specifics. If I click the CRM, I didn't make many changes to this. I kept a lot of the instructions as is. So this is where you can go in, add multiple instructions. You can give it guardrails, which are very important. It's like setting boundaries once again for the child. You can't do this. Don't do this. Don't do stuff you're not supposed to do. I don't know about everyone else. I've actually had the agent get sassy with me before. I'm like, oh no, it's developing a personality. Great. I have a teenager on my hands. So, but no, and this is just where as you're going through, you can test it in here. So let's say I just want to go find, not Dubs, my finger's on the wrong key, apologies. Find Raby's account. So as it'll do this, what it'll do is it'll actually go through the logic that Agentforce goes here once it comes up. Give it a moment. So this is the interface that it shows. And then once it stops, it should There we go. Okay. So what this does is it actually shows you the step-by-step process the agent went through to get the answer that it prompted in the interface. So you can go through here, determine how it reasoned, expand the prompt to see pulling instructions. Okay. It went in here, carefully comprehend user message, categorize the user input. And this is just standard CRM. You don't have to go in and tell it to do this yet. Now, if you determine that it's pulling the wrong information, they added this great feature in here where you can actually get suggestions for how to improve your instructions through generative AI. So if I go to the bottom of this page, you'll notice the agent response, and you can either respond the view or actually get the code that it prompted, but you can suggest an improvement here. You can go, what's incorrect about the response? You can type specifically how it responded incorrectly, and then what it should do and submit it, and it'll actually give you refined instructions that you can upload to that topic to make your answers better. So this is where it gets into the refining, testing. So just so you guys aren't overwhelmed at this point, I do want to show you one more quick thing before I open it up for questions. I want to show you the testing center, because I kid you not, the testing center has been life-saving. So how you get to the testing center is you get out of Agentforce. You just go back to your setup and you do testing. Just put in testing here in the search and you should have testing center. So what you can do with this is it's only available in Sandbox. You can't use this in production. I found that out the hard way going, why can't I find testing? It's in Sandbox. So what you do is you select the agent you want to test. So you can create a new test, maybe, by selecting here. This is where you give the test a name. So this is just quick testing. You give it a name, test 2. What agent are you testing? Let's say I want to test the CER account navigation agent, and you can give it a description of what you want to test. I want to test the responsiveness of the agent. We'll keep it simple. Next. And so with the test conditions, this is where you can go in and actually get down to the nitty gritty and see. So you can run all tests from a particular point in the conversation if you want, or if you want to run tests with context variables, and we're talking context variables, that's more advanced. That's different variables that you put in either through prompt builder or more as you get more complex. So I can bypass this. This is where it's going to get fun, guys, because you can either upload test cases you've created in either an Excel sheet or a Google sheet, or you can have it generate test cases for you, everyone. So that way you can just give it description, what you want to test for, what topics you want to test for, and you can even determine what number, how many tests you want it to run, which safely I can say it'll do up to 100 without breaking it. So, but as you can see, just to kind of spare time, I did run a test a couple weeks ago on this, just to bring up the results here. So what it'll do is it'll run. It'll give you how long it took to run the test, the number of topic passes, the number of action passes, and its responsiveness without you having to go through 100 individual test cases within it. It gives you quick suggestions, whether it passed, whether it failed, and that way you can identify where it's failing at and go in and tweak those instructions and then retest it. But that is everything I wanted to show you today, everyone. I know we kind of went into the weeds a little bit, but I figure as Salesforce users, you would appreciate this. So does anybody have any questions for me at this point? I know I went a little bit over than I said I would. I get to talking about agents and I just could go all day. So any other questions? Yes, Matt. Especially with prompt writing, because prompt writing is an interesting mix between creativity and instruction. So if you can master prompt writing, you're really going to get the answers that you're looking for with AI. Giving it a persona, giving it context, giving it examples. So anything you can find on prompt building, I highly recommend you take, because that's going to help you refine not only your instructions, but once you venture into the realm of the prompt template within Salesforce, that will help you extremely get down to your actual what you are looking for instead of it just generating random stuff. Because you're going to get a way better answer if instead of just create a topic about history, it's going to just pull whatever. But if you go, you are a master historian specializing in the Civil War, please create a topic that has to deal with this type between the North and the South. You're giving it more context is going to get you a better answer. So I highly recommend anything you can find on prompt building. Any other questions? Yes.
I've used it to query your metadata
Have not yet.
as a, started in before it's Salesforce is 2020.
Oh.
We have 2,000 active users.
Mhm.
We're proponent by
Mhm.
great at agent. Sometimes missions where we get things like that.
Yeah. So with something like that, that actually are coming out with, that's where you could use Data Cloud to help you with data analytics and build data models and test cases. That would be more helpful than the Agentforce side of it, in my opinion. So I would definitely venture down Data Cloud to help you do those data analysis on that. Any other questions? Of course, if you think of something afterwards, always feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to share my Agentforce experience with everyone because I have banged my head across on the table a couple of times. Yes. It does. Yeah, and that's where I ran into the problem where I wasn't able to pull data is because Data Cloud didn't have access to those. So if someone does not have access to certain information, they cannot get around that using Agentforce. And the cool thing, one of the new updates that they did for Agentforce is you can actually assign users to an agent now. Before they did that upgrade, it was like, well, if you had an Agentforce permission, you could access any of the agents themselves. But now you can assign a specific agent to a specific user. So that way you can get more control on who has access to use it and somebody doesn't use it for nefarious purposes. But I am kind of excited to see this new, they've been talking about agent to agent interaction, which I haven't explored yet. So you have one agent talk to another agent. So that way in the background, more maybe a headless agent, if you've heard that term. So that way they can talk to each other, use their specialties, because what I recommend is don't try to make one agent that answers everything under the sun, because it's going to have so much conflicting information. It's going to take so much time. Start small, create a specialized agent. And then you can eventually, because I still need to research how you can connect the agents to each other. So that way, if one specializes in data gathering, another specializes in lead generation, then they can combine their forces to create a one single unified response to the user. So I haven't ventured into that, but that's probably going to be something I venture into in the next year, is seeing how agents interact with each other within Salesforce. Any other questions? It was painful, but honestly, I think it is worth it. I really do. Because yes, it's a headache to set up. It's a huge learning curve. But if you take the time and go in there and stay up to date, and also go outside of Salesforce too. Because a lot of the lessons I've learned through like Udemy, like I was talking with the prompt builder, or even experimenting in our own Gemini workspace, has really helped me refine those skills within that I can take to Salesforce and produce a better agent instead of trying within Salesforce by itself. But that being said, I don't recommend at this point, unless you have the time and energy trying to do this on your own with building an agent from scratch. I mean, that has been a big contention. Let's be honest, everyone. It's like, okay, what is really the value of Agentforce? Can I just go out and create an agent outside of Salesforce by myself? Yeah, you could, but it's going to take a lot more time to get to the level that Salesforce is currently. Because I actually went out to Mile High Dreamin' a couple weeks ago, and Peter Coffey, the VP of Strategic Research at Salesforce, did a talk there. And I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's MIT grad. He taught at MIT, and he was talking about, yeah, you could do this, but it's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of money. It's going to be a lot of machine learning that not everybody has the expertise for. which is the vehicle. I'm not being pro Salesforce at this point. That's what it sounds like. I sound like a Salesforce commercial right now. I'm sorry. But honestly, in my opinion, it is worth it, especially if you are small and you just want to start with the flex credits, just to get you comfortable with AI. Because I think you'll see the benefit of using that, and that'll get you on a level playing field, because let's be honest, everyone, everybody's going to start using AI. So it's better to do it in an environment that allows some experimentation with not so much cost up front than trying to do it on your own or potentially risking your data. Yes.
I was just curious what kind of feedback you've been getting in your testing, as far as how useful it is as a day-to-day tool.
So that, since we haven't moved it into a testing, like a beta test yet, I haven't gotten that feedback yet, but just talking to the leaders, it's more about refining the data and how it appears than the actual data it's pulling. So once we get to a point that's comfortable to actually do a beta test with the actual users, that's when I want to dive in to see more information. Is it faster for them to use the AI, or is it faster for them just to do their click, 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 because that's what they're used to? Because that's a fair point. Because yeah, you can build the coolest tool in the world, guys, but if your users aren't going to use it, it's all for naught. Any other questions? No? Well, thank you, everyone. I enjoyed your participation, getting to show off my agent today. But and like I said, this has been a big journey. I mean, this is not something you're going to be able to do very quickly. I'm just trying to give you the tools, learn from my roadblocks I ran into trying to create an agent. At the base level, I recommend talking to your business, identify use cases so that way you can start small, identify issues, and just like Salesforce said, identify things that are repetitive, that are huge pain points for people. That's where you want to target in to see if maybe AI, Salesforce, Agentforce is a good solution for that. That's my recommendation to take away. So, well, if there's nothing else, you can feel free to reach out to me afterwards. If you run into your own problems, I'm more than happy to help you guys troubleshoot your agent. So, because chances are I've run into it. So, thank you, everybody.
We still got a little time to hang out.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's nobody in here afterwards. You're good, everyone. I say I'm not going to talk long, but I always talk long. I'm a talker.